Hello everyone. In the last stream, we again joined for this new stream, and in the morning we already discussed few points related to JSON and HTTP request, and today we will continue on that part. And also after completing those concepts, I will implement the health API endpoint. So let's see like what we already read few things. Yes, we already completed this part, ASG and Starlit part, where we able to understood that this fast API is built upon Starlit and Starlit, and which is based on the ASGI framework, and this ASGI is server gateway, and here the server is UVCon. Um, so what it's providing? It's providing asynchronous request concurrent. No, it's providing to handle fast API can able to handle asynchronous request concurrently, as we upgrade it by not as we upgrade it like previous traditionally, as we are using WSGI, which is a synchronous related standard related, not framework, I will say synchronous related specifications. And this Starlet have some features like routing, middleware, and async server capabilities that also fast API extends. And UVCon is the server, so it is enabling to run. It have the features to run fast API, handle request, and obviously um, it is a lightweight, so lightning fast. It is a fast ASGI server. So, and also we get the point that here that it enabling fast API event loop and non-blocking request handling. So we are now, till this we understood. We are now exploring what is event loop and non-blocking request handling. So let's go into it, and let's deep dive into it, like what is asynchronous synchronous request handling, and sorry, what is event loop and non-blocking request handling. So let's get started. Let me check. Wait for a few seconds. I'm starting on it. So here it explains about event loop. Let's understand what is event loop. Event loop Event loop is the core of the every async application. Event loops run asynchronous tasks and callbacks, perform network operations and sub processes. Let's check the meaning of callback once. Back to function that gets called back and gets called back. Yes, and started. Place an order. Give them your phone number. The callback function. Let's see the example. It's callback function. Callback function. Now callback. Callback here say hello. Output. Okay, we call this method. So I call this method. And then what is happening? Then maybe let's understand the callback once. See this example. Here one method. Here is another method, which is passing callback. So here what happened? Do ask callback. Say hello. We passed another function here. The definition only says that callback is a function that you pass another function and it gets called back later, usually after some task is completed. So callback is basically a function that you pass to another function. It gets called back later, usually after some task is completed. What is the meaning exactly? starting task, this is executed, we passed a another function, say hello, task is finished, task is in progress, task is finished. Then now callback function will execute, hello, task is completed. We passed say hello function to this callback function. Callback is itself is a function. We passed this function to this function. One task is executing process, and then after that the callback function executed. Means we are passing a function. When we are passing a function to the callback function, we want that function to be executed later once the previous task will be completed. Here if you see do task is doing some task, this function executed is doing some task. So what we did, we passed the say hello function to the callback function. So once this do task will be completed, then this callback function will execute and this say hello will executed. Let's say another example, data complete, process data, data def process data all complete. It will printing, this method is printing resulting data into two, processing data, call the callback with the result on complete result. Okay, so this is the callback function. Okay, the def result print process and printing. So process data, we call the process data 5 and we passed a handle result, because obviously we can pass the function, we are passing the another function to a to uncomplete. Uncomplete is the callback function we written here. So what we did, it will be execute all this process, data result done, result is passed to now callback, and this parameter result parameter is passed to callback function, and callback function is executed. When the callback function is executed, what should be the output? What should be the output? Can you show me the output of this? Let's see the output of this. What happened? This data contains two parameters. Step by step execution. So step by step execution. Show me. So handle result function is defined, not executed yet. Step 2, call this process data function. We finally give the 5 and handle result, the function itself, not called yet. Uncomplete equals to handle result, obviously. When we are calling the callback function, means we are passing another function, it will actually execute the past function. So it first did the result data into 2, then execution started. Data is 5, result equals to 5 into 10, and 10 result equals to 10, and 10 now passed to handle function, and then it will print what? Then it will print after this will execute on actually executing this function, this handle result function. Now handle result have yes, handle result have that value. Now it is processing the output, complete result is 10. Return from handle result, return from process data. So what we can do is handle result can able to is coming out from the handle result, and then it is coming out from the process data. Yes, because obviously I thought that it will coming out from the complete result. No, complete result is executing inside the process data. First it will come out of this handle result, then it will come out of the process data. So this is the flow we understood. What is callback? Callback actually is a function where we can pass another function. Once the previous task, previous function or previous task, whatever it is executing, once it will over, this function should execute. So that is the reason we are passing a function to a callback function, which is itself is a function. So when we have the requirement that we want to execute this part of the function later, then we can say give it to the callback function, so it will execute later. How it is happening with the fast API and all, we will discuss it later. First we understood the concept, and then we will go one by one. Get me 1 minute break. Now let's continue. I'm testing it something. Wait for a few seconds. I'm just testing something. Let me. Let's put it in the desktop audio. Some moment. Let's check now. Audio I will put. Let me check the properties once. In audio, okay. I'm speaking things properly now. I will spare this music. I also want to listen. Let me connect to this one. Let's this. Little bit more. Loud music. this now. Now is 1 minute. This volume is good, I think. This much music sound is good. Now it will not disturb the user also. Let me the music more loud or it's better. More loud, not keep it full. How much do you want to spend? Let's adjust from here. No, this is very low. So know in the comments if this music is sound is proper perfect, or you want little bit less. I think this is volume is pretty good. So if I am speaking something, let's check that if it is overpowering it or is only listening to music. Let's see that here. Not able to hear myself music, but let's see that. Or if we need to, if required, we will make it little more slow. Say something like, let's see if I'm reading something, or let's see that if I'm reading the following sentences. The following low level function can be used to get set or create an event loop. Async dot get, let's go running the event loop event. Increase little bit the volume. Now check once. Let me see what happens. When called from a coroutine or a callback, this function waits return event loop. If there is no running event loop, that function will return the result. The function will return the result of get because the function has rather complex behavior, especially when custom event loop policies are in use. Using the get function is preferred to get get event loop call, because function has rather complex behavior. Leaf and covers in use. Function is preferred to get event loop in coroutines and call. As noted above, consider using the higher level async.run function instead of using these lower level functions. to manually create and close an event. Even if put full volume also, it stay right. Just note me now in the comments if you are finding the music is a little bit more. Searching for a balanced sound where all types of music will be feels low. what happened? Let's see. Okay, good. There is thinking about used to is there is no only way to radical thought. Let me go through this first, and then I will explain it to you again. event loop is at the core of the async. Every async application event loops runs asynchronous tasks and perform the task. So Yeah. Of processes. What is the meaning of that? What is the meaning of that? Mhm. So, so, so what we understood that event loop is a core of every async application. So async is a library we know. Async for to do asynchronous operations, we need to use the async library. That is inbuilt library of Python. So event loop is the core of it. Okay, so it do all the tasks. It runs asynchronous task. We know the meaning of, we already know the meaning of running asynchronous task. Means when you're executing a request or a task, if it needs the data from outside, we need to pause that task and do some other task. The same. And also event loops have the task to call the callbacks. Callbacks, we understood that call execution of callbacks means, so once we callbacks mostly like we send a method and we want that after the task will run, this method should execute. That is the execution of callbacks. That task also it will do. And perform network operations. We just discussed that whenever the asynchronous task will done, we need the data from outside. That is maybe the database operations or I operations. Okay. So that part of the task also event loop do. And run sub processes. Sub processes means, I will show you here. Says the sub processes means, let's conceptually know about it. Starting another program. So event loop here is a type of, you can consider type of manager, which is managing, which always searching what task it needs to do. So it can do multiple type of tasks. And how it can do? Because it have the asynchronous capability. So event loop always do like event loop always handle multiple tasks. Suppose always there to handle whenever a task needs to be executed simultaneously. When another task is running or it is paused, event loop do this process. So we are saying that okay, one task is running and another task we need to start, so event loop will start. So we said that we are activating the sub processes. If we see here, where is the event loop? Sub process like starting another program from within your program. Like imagine you are working in Microsoft Word, you click a button to open calculator, sub process is started, but it runs separately. So if we see the example event loop, so okay, event loop plus sub process. Result run program, run command, sleep 5. Result to run command, sleep 5. Wait 5 seconds, blocked, wait 5 more seconds. So with event loop, what will happen? Sleep 5 seconds and task 2 also sleeping 5 seconds. Await execute together task 1 and task 2. Concurrently running. Event loop starts up process A. Starts of process A 5-second task. Event loop starts of process B 5-second task. So if we see here what event loop generally do, we see here previously without event loop both tasks are waiting for 5 seconds, wasting time. So with event loop we can use the asynchronous capability. So task 1 task 2 both started, event loop starts both the task, event loop says task is done, task be done. So it's not done till now. So then event loop check other tasks, that other tasks that are saying that it can start other tasks from other sub processor, it can start or it can do some IO operation or database operations, it can handle it. It will check all things, like it will never sit idle. Once it will always check for the results, or it will check for that do some other task. It never sits idle. So here it is only written here, and the event loop does not sit idle waiting, it keeps checking and handling other tasks. So let's not go into the code. Event loop is a manager which always checking for work to do. Check sub process 1, starter still running. Check web request 2, new request, start processing. Check sub process 1 again, finish, collect result. Check database query, database ready, return data, look back to start. So it will do the process every time. So with event loop, actually when we were saying that previously we are like without in synchronous, mostly we need to wait for every request to complete and then you can start every request, so it is taking more time. Actually when we were saying that concurrently we are able to handle the concurrently, the event loop is the mechanism, it's a tool. You can say that, let's consider it is the concept. Event loop is the only thing which is actually doing all this juggling and handling all the tasks and everything, and it will it will do all the part. It will handle the database request, IO operation request, it will check that this task you get the this task, you get this task done, or there are any other task is pending, or you get the result. If this task is still in progress, it is handling the database request of the task, or it is doing the like it is handling any other request, and every time it is doing all the process one by one. It will never sit idle, it will always do multiple things on it. So maybe like we can assume for now, like there are other things also with event loop which is doing, we can't think, don't think this as event loop is a one thing which is doing all the tasks. Maybe event loop have threads or something which is doing those tasks, and event loop is triggering it. It is a manager which is saying that okay, start now, database request came, okay, handle database. This came, start. Web request came, do the web request. Now the request answer came, okay, work on the answer. Give the data to CPU, running the code, and all this process is handling. So event loop is doing all the concurrency. When we are talking about concurrency, event loop is the tool, or event loop is the core of core of the library, core of the asynchronous library, which is doing this concurrency. So this is the only thing tell here, only thing explain that event loop is the core of the async application. Async is the library that we used, and when we are saying that asynchronous application, async application we are saying in the Python here. So event loop run synchronous tasks and callbacks, perform network IO operation, and run from processes. Use this high level async run, check for all its points. So here this event, generally we don't generally developers don't much care about this async library. It is saying here that we just need to type the async.run, then event loop will start. Okay, we no need to directly interact with the event loop object or call its methods. We just need to call the async.run, like async library dot async object and with the run method we'll call, and this all the event loop process and concurrency, that all the concurrent work will be done by event. So but if you know about because it is mostly present in the lower level of the code or libraries or frameworks, anyhow the lower level of the code or inside the libraries or framework internals. So if you go to the internals of the frameworks, then only we will able to find the event loop. And if you want to control the behavior of the event loop, how the event loops will work, then only we need to go deep dive into it. But anyhow we will understood this anyhow we are going through it, so we will understood whatever the four things, what are the methods given on it. In next few minutes we will understand. Let's take a break for a few minutes and then we can start. let's get started about the event loop. So what needs to be done? This is giving some methods are giving. Let me go through it, then I will explain about it. So async.get underscore running loop, returning the running event loop in the current OS thread. There is a runtime error if there is no current async.get running loop. The following low level function can be used to set or create an event loop. So below are the mostly the event loop functions that we discussed. Like there are methods are functions are there, low level functions are there that that is used to mostly start, get, set or create the event loop. So those methods, let me go through it and then I will explain which method is doing what. Yes, we got running loop. Get running loop, get underscore loop, returning the event loop, returning the running event loop in the. What is the meaning of that? Returning the event loop in the current OS state. Returning the is the meaning of return the when we call event loop method. Probably see this thing once. It's it's access. do it once. Okay. So I got to a concept now. So I have few questions. So how I get to that point? I run this. I understood that we say this is a method, low level function. Okay. So we are just running this async.run, and these internally these methods may be running. Okay, because they are anyhow the lower level code that is present in the libraries and framework. So we are saying it lower level function. So when this method is triggered, right? So what happened? Uh, it is saying that return the running event loop in the current OS state. Okay, so I have the doubt that what is the meaning of that, returning the running event loop. So then I asked the question that asked you the question that what is the meaning of that. So it is saying returning mean it is giving access to the object of the it is saying that it is accessing the it is giving the access to the object of um, OS thread, sorry, access to the object of event loop. So let's go up, let's see here what it given. I'll show you. So it is saying it is function is giving access to something, like something means the event loop that is currently running. To whom? To the tasks. Okay, so in the current, so it is saying that in the current OS, in the current thread, now event loop is activated. Okay, so our, as we know, our code is running in a thread, right? Programming running in a thread. So that is saying a current OS thread, and obviously thread creation and thread handling is done by OS. Okay, that we need to understood. So here what happening when this method is triggering, it is creating the object of, so it is creating the object of event loop. It is not creating, I think it is not creating, maybe it is, wait, I asked some question here. Yes, it is not creating. Yeah, object of the, yes, yes, yes. So when this method is triggered, right, event loop object creation happens. So event loop object creation happen, and then in that thread, and then we know that event loop now able to handle the asynchronous task, callbacks, and perform network IO operations. Runs a process also on that specific thread. On this thread, it can switch the task, it can handle the IO operation, it can handle database operation, it can trigger any new task. All these things now event loop able to do. And it says that it will throw a runtime error if there is no running event loop. Okay, if there is no running event loop, it will throw the runtime error. So it is saying that this methods can be, as we know that, as you understand the event, like as we see that what is how the callback functions are calling. So how some functions are calling through callback. So it is saying here that this function can be called from a coroutine or a callback. Okay, to start the event, create or start the event loop. So this is the first function, which is saying that creating the object of the event loop and giving event loop inside the thread, and so that it can able to handle all the asynchronous tasks and performing network operations and sub processes, running of sub processes. Obviously the fast API app that we understood, like that is also a task, right? So that's first API, we consider that is also a object or whatever task is, that event loop is triggering everything. That is the reason we get to the point there. Fast API is here we understood that here we get to the point that enable fast API and enable fast API event loop. Okay, sorry, my mistake. Sorry, here fast API app triggering by ASGI server and enables I together this enabling fast API event loop and non-blocking function. Definitely, I'm thinking that even if it is enabling fast API event loop, so after it enabling only this fast API, whatever the method or sorry, whatever the object or method function it is starting internally, those objects are there or functions are there, right? So those everything is triggering by the event loop only, because of which that specific code is running in a thread. So when when the event loop will be present, then it will start that task. Yes, without event loop also, but event loop gives give us to handle the have the capability to handle multiple things. So that is the reason we are using asynchronous. And by the way, we know that fast API itself is asynchronous code base, so built up on top of asynchronous server, ASGI server. So then definitely event loop is handling everything. But we need to understand what is a coroutine. Coroutine or callback is same thing or not. If we able to know that, then it will be good. Is coroutine or a callback it's same? Is no small definitions we are just asking here. Let's understand it. Routine callback. It is not the same. Then you need to understand what is going. Then we will make a point that we need to understand what is going. We understood already callback. So what happened here till now? Till now we understood that asyncio.run. So let's get to the point that okay, coroutine and callback is not the same thing. So we will make a point. So let's need to out what. Okay. So here two things. First thing is that we understood that when we run the asyncio.run internally, then asynchronous tasks are handled, callbacks are asynchronous tasks handling properly. It is able to all the IO operations also happening, database happening. If it is pausing for task, other task is starting. All these things are happening, right? But internally, there are low-level codes or libraries. The codes are present. So internally, this is when we are running this. It is calling. Just take a, I don't know exactly it is calling or not, but yes, just consider it is calling this asyncio.get running loop. So when this get running loop is triggered, this method is triggering, because as you know, this all the things, the process is happening, that is event loop. The first thing we thought that first thing this is creating an event loop. So it will create first the event loop, and then it will give the access of the task on the current thread that is created by OS. And if it will not able to find any event loop, then it will throw a runtime error. There is no active or running event loop. So what is the meaning of that? Like, so there can be a question here that is there any case there is no event loop? So there is a question we need to put down. Can there be a case there is no event loop? Let's go here. Is there be a case where there is no event loop running and it throws runtime error. We will go to this question. So and it is saying that this function, and it also said that this function is calling by callback. Yes, and we searched in the cloud already that coroutine callback anyhow doing the same process, but they are not the same. So again, we later we note it down. We understand already what is callback. Like this is a method where it will get a method, and this callback is present inside a method. Okay, and when the tasks are first, like previously some tasks need to be completed, after the task completed, this callback method will trigger. When it will we call the callback method, by defaultly the method, the callback, the method parameter, the parameter, it callback parameter have a different method. That method will internally trigger, that we see in the previous examples already. That is called callback. So we understood that this create event loop method, sorry, event loop object creation will done by this method, and this method will be called only by coroutine or a callback. So you understood this part. Let me go through this method once what it is doing. I will explain. This is getting event loop. This is not creating event loop. Let me get all this get running event loop. Get running event loop. So whatever be this method is triggered when, yeah, already a event loop is running active, and that to get that event loop getting this method. So if there is no active event loop, then how can it be running event loop? How can you can get that if the event loop is not active or running, then how can it will perform the task, right? And like it will, how can it will check what, how can it be done? So it is not possible, right? So to getting that event loop, so first we are checking the get methods, and then we will see maybe later below create options. Yeah, new event loop. So new event loop to be created, below methods are there. So anyhow, we will understood, and whatever we have the questions and queries that we will handle anyhow. have the doubt like what it is doing, and maybe there is some issue on this. Let me check about what is the current event loop is getting. So get the current event loop when called from the coroutine or a callback. The function will always runs the running event loop. Means called from a coroutine or a callback. Is that newspaper to is like I'm thinking to get event loop. Let's go through it, like go through it. So I have some queries, like I'm thinking here what it is saying. Is it pointing to this specific loop, or it is pointing to mm, so when it is saying here that when called from the coroutine or a callback, this function always returning the event loop. What which method it is pointing to? This get running loop. It is saying when there is no running event loop set, the function will return the result of the get event loop policy dot get event loop, especially when custom event loop policies are using the get running loop function is preferred to get event loop callbacks. What is the statement meaning? What is the meaning of this statement? So let's go. Let's check here. Let's take this. Okay, let's this project chat. Not record, I think here only. Lagging too much. Copy all this. See. Let's see. want to know in this whole thing, this statements are want to know what is the meaning of this specific thing. Meaning of this line. Just want to go through this line. Let's get to know. I want to know the meaning of this line. So let's go into it. Array. Copied everything. Hmm. So here we know the meaning of this line. Meaning of this line. Taking lots of time to get the results. So saying that the function has rather complex get event true. It is not different. It does different things depending on the situation. Still, when custom event loop policies are event loop policies equals to rules. Event loop policies equals to loop of and event loop policies are in use. Event loop policies rules the control how event loops are created and managed. Especially when custom event loop policies are shown that control how event loop. So in this line it says that we are getting this function. We are getting this function. This function has complex behavior. The function is get event loop complex behavior. It does different things depending on the situation. Okay, got to that point. Especially when custom event loop policies are in use. Are in use. Event loop policies are in use. Event loop policies equals to rules that control how event loop are created. Okay, changes the default rules that control how event loop Loops are created and managed. We get running event loop. Running loop is preferred. Better choice recommended. Okay. Where to use? In callback inside async function on callback. Inside okay. Students में async functions okay. Callback functions. Simple transition. Compare and touch. When you are inside async function, simple. Core routine. No loop. Loop. No loop. Only C. My understanding is maybe the both the methods are doing same process, right? Lots of things given. So both the get event loop and get running loop, both the things are doing the same thing. A get timber loop complicated and can behave differently depending on the situation, especially if someone customize how event loop works. So when you are writing async code, always use get running loop instead of timber. Both the loops do the same process, but one is complicated and another is simple, safer, and both written runtime exception if there is no event loop. Am I right? Get running loop reaches runtime error. When there is no running loop, get event loop does not reach. It creates a new loop instead. That is why it is complicated. No. So it will get event loop is running. Very recent. Okay. That one let's say get running loop. Async function. Because obviously event loop always be run by inside the event. You will find definitely the event loop inside the async function only. creates a new loop. Okay, so now this behavior is changed in 3.1.4. And okay, so what it explained here clearly, let me go through it point. So it says that when you're triggering the function, it is directly calling this get running loop. Okay, so instead of that, it will trigger. Obviously, it is saying here that consider using this async.run function instead of using the lower level functions to manually create or close event loop, because it will anyhow it will pick this it will create this get running event loop. Okay, get running loop. So if there is no loop find, because no loop, obviously event loop will not find if we are outside the asynchronous function, as we know this is a part of asynchronous event loop and all. So coroutine also, a coroutine we generally, if you read the coroutine about it, is a asynchronous function. Okay, so if we have the running event loop, if you don't have the running event loop, then definitely what the problem is that it will throw the runtime error if you are executing it in outside the coroutine or callback functions. Okay, um but what happened for get event loop, it is saying that if somebody change something, if there is no running event loop set, the function will return the result. Because yes, because get event loop will execute with get event loop policy, not get event loop. So anybody can put any custom policies there, and what happen, get event loop is fine if it is executing in coroutines and callbacks, but the problem is when you are outside the asynchronous function, and uh, and we did not get a running loop, sorry, we did not get a running event loop, then this get running loop will throw us the runtime error, but this will create another loop. Okay, so this will not throw error, but after currently in 3.144, this is uh, if there is no current event loop also, it will throwing runtime error. Okay, so that is the reason here the author is saying that you execute or run, it will anyhow trigger through. If you run asynchronously, it have the coroutines and async functions are there, and callback functions are there, callbacks are there. Like as per my knowledge, when you are executing through async.run, it have the async function, so it will definitely get the um running event loop. Okay, so I have a doubt. So can we consider both can we consider both routines teams and callbacks are always part of, because coroutines anyhow we called it as a async functions. Okay, so core call part of asynchronous functions, asynchronous functions. Let's see that. Sorry, coroutine usually async or await we said. Okay, so when we understood about coroutine, that time in modern program we said async coroutines we said. Okay, and coroutines have generator coroutines also. So currently we are saying it async coroutines. So we will understand what is coroutines. Callbacks can be both. It can be async or, So for example, that's the reason it gives us the, it can get a runtime error, because if there are a callback created and through callback anyhow like asynchronous coroutines are not present, mostly as it is saying that. So currently we are using our mostly asynchronous coroutines. So let's consider that part of the thought, that for example something called by synchronous callback, like our this method, what is the method name, get running loop. Okay, not from the async.run, because async.run already the part of the event loop and all, but somebody directly call this um, executed this but async.get running loop, if you are executing, maybe I don't know, like, because async library asynchronous library, right? So it will always get running event loop, but there can be chance. So I don't know, yeah, if that is the case, because as I understood async is a asynchronous library, so how there can be a chance that it will get the runtime error? That would be a good question. So we should know, make it note down, that uh, we should make it note down as low level low level functions are executing to async object, how there can be a chance, how there can be a chance that it will throw get run it will throw runtime error. Yes, because if we google it and we want to know, we need to go more detail about how the event loop and all created. Okay, I just need the answer, that because anyhow, because the library object we are using is a Python concept, so definitely it will always give us that runtime exception, right? async dot dot functions like get running loop. Let's have this question also. That I got. It's saying that when we executing the asecure.run, okay, let's take some break, then we will come back again. And we think about like what it is trying to say, that async is a module, and when we run async.run, when you are triggered, separate object must be started. It is saying that. Then get trouble check if loop is active or not. So it is saying all these things. Yeah, like it will check if it will create the object, and it will check if the loop is active or not. Creates the object and it do. So we will understand this part. It started. So my point of saying is that we asked the question and it gave us like multiple things. Async module have collections of async module is collections of function always available after import. Does not mean a loop is running. Separate object that must be created by async.run or manually, must be actively running. Get running loop checks if loop is active, not just if async module exists. So we understood one point here that this will definitely, we understood that this will create the object and it will check that if the loop is active or not. Okay, not just if async mode audio, only if loop is actually running. So here it shows that just importing async module exist, call async function. No, phase 2, starting the loop with async.run. Async.run main will first execute and then it will run the async.get running loop. Okay, so it is saying that when you are running async.run, then only the loop is created and then only it will Wait, let me get through it once. What happened in input try except loop equals to async dot run will execute this main function, and then only this will get the running loop. Phase 3 loop stop. Event separate that must be created by async data run manually. Internally it is calling this loop. So from here we understood that this async dot run first will execute, and then internally this is executing this get running loop. Okay, and it is getting that object. Okay, if so, tell, I just don't want to know if loop is active and running, then only we can create the object, right? Create the object of it when we are running the event loop when you're running the async dot run. Async dot run. Get it? Okay. Creates the overloop object. Async run. So if you will, okay, runs main code executes, stops the loop, ends the loop. So async dot, okay, now we got to know. Understood. So object creation and all will be done by this. So what is the problem? Like, why this much confusion is happening? Because here it is clearly did not explain us that a secure run is trigger creating. Here it is saying that, because when we asked the Claude previous time, it is says that returning the running event loop means it is giving that loop only. Running the event loop object it is getting. Okay, if there is no event loop, so for example, instead of the asecure, if you directly trying to do it, then it will give us that runtime error, right? If somebody instead of running executing this, it will, if you're trying to get the running event loop, it will throw us the error. Okay, and also if somebody did not use the async library, and if somebody directly trying to access do it, then on that case also the like event loops are not present except asynchronous programming. Event loops are not present. Somebody used the callback function and they're trying to access the event loop or something, okay, or these methods. These methods are part of the async library maybe. Get me some moment.